Tonight, a 40% chance of showers and storms, low in the upper 40s. Partly sunny, slight chance of rain showers in the morning, partly cloudy by afternoon tomorrow, high around 70. Sunny to partly cloudy, slight chance of an afternoon shower on Friday, lower 70s for the high. With the storm rolling through, it's gone from 73 all the way down to 57. That's what it is right now at KVNU. Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology is Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. See Dr. Paul Danes at cachehearing.com or call 753-HEAR, H-E-A-R.
Are you a hot sleeper? Warm summer nights can make it hard to sleep. UNI Furniture recommends sleeping cooler with a gel memory foam mattress. UNI features a copper-infused gel memory foam that helps with coolness and circulation. It moves better with you, giving you the best night's sleep. UNI is also the home of Chair Heaven. There's a reason they sell so many chairs, including recliners. Father's Day is coming up. Plan to take care of Dad with a new recliner. For over 90 years, there's always been a better buy at UNI Furniture, downtown Logan.
KVNU News Time is 4:06. Up to 2019, summers in Ogden were marked by Jehovah's Witnesses filling hotels and restaurants as they attended their annual conventions at the D Event Center. In 2020, the pandemic interrupted that tradition when they canceled their in-person events throughout the world and held their convention programs as virtual events in more than 500 languages. But beginning June 23rd, the witnesses will bring that tradition back to the Ogden venue with the Exercise Patients Regional Convention. Local representative for the Public Information Department for Jehovah's Witnesses, Michael Overholt, said the first weekend of the convention will be for Spanish-speaking attendees, and the English language convention will follow the next weekend, June 30th through July 2nd. He explained why it's important to get back together in person.
Now, we did put on the virtual conventions, and they were amazing. We were able to put together a really high-quality program that people could enjoy from the safety of their own living rooms, keeping themselves and the community safe. And there were some real advantages to be able to pause and play and rewind, but something was missing. The joy of gathering together with thousands of smiling faces, the hugs, the handshake, seeing extended family, old friends, making new ones, helps make the experience special.
Overholt said the theme is timely because patience is sorely needed in the society in which we live. You can get more details on the convention at jw.org. A motorcycle crash near East Canyon Dam is highlighting the ongoing hazards that riders face while on the road. The incident happened on a lengthy road known for its numerous tight turns. That's popular among motorcycle enthusiasts on Highway 66 Tuesday morning. 3 riders who were new to the area encountered a tight turn where one of them failed to navigate properly and collided with a guardrail. The rider wearing a helmet sustained non-life-threatening injuries and received medical treatment, according to Morgan Fire Crews. The motorcycle suffered significant damage and was not rideable after the incident. Authorities urge all riders to wear appropriate protective gear and exercise caution when traversing unfamiliar areas. KVNU News Time is 4:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Updates every 30 minutes and breaking news as it happens. News Talk KVNU, your #1 radio station for news and talk.
If you're looking to make this Father's Day extra delicious, let Elements Restaurant take care of the barbecue for you. Elements Father's Day brisket dinner starts with a pound of juicy brisket for just $22, along with your choice of $5 sides, including Southwestern mac and cheese, coleslaw, and baked beans. This is a pre-order special and must be made by Friday, June 16th at noon. Pickup will be Saturday, June 17th. Elements Restaurant, where great food meets great memories this Father's Day. Call and reserve your barbecue brisket meal today. Elements Restaurant, 750-5171.
My friend John Hansen at the Duct Hunter has constantly educated you about the need for ductwork cleaning in your home. But what about your cabin or summer home outside the valley? You need that home's ductwork cleaned too. With high pollen counts in the mountains, dust always in the wind, and road construction ever present, the old adage of out of sight, out of mind is bad. Give the Duct Hunter a call at 770-4813 to clean out those dirty ducts in your summer home.
We are the Duct Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duct
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org. JustServe.org is provided as a service by The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, June 14th. I'm Jason Williams, Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Coming up, USU Young Republicans, I'm sorry, they don't call themselves that. USU Republicans, Young Republicans is a different thing. USU Republicans are getting on board with basically a climate change effort, an effort to both raise awareness but also get behind different solutions to climate change than more of a conservative point of view when it comes to climate change proposals. And it is something, so there's a broader perspective to all of this, which is a lot of polling recently showing that, to be blunt, Republicans have a young people problem. Many of the polls done on people under the age of 25 show that most of the things that the Republican Party doesn't spend a lot of time talking about or proposing solutions to or legislation on are actually at the top of the list of priorities for young voters, even those who describe themselves as conservative and Republican. So young Republicans are hoping to kind of change this a little bit, and one of the ways they're doing it, USU Republicans at least, getting behind helping to promote something, the Prove It Act. And we'll talk about what this is with Andrew Sandstrom. He's going to be joining us about 4:40 today, and he's going to be talking about the work of he and Grayson Massey, the Western Regional Director of Young Republicans, and their advocacy for policies like the Prove It Act. We'll talk about what this is. Well, I mean, I'll just spoil it a little bit. It's a bill that would actually go after other countries like China and hold them accountable for their pollution. One thing we know about air pollution specifically is that though the U.S. has a lot of work and improvement we can do, there are countries like China that are contributing far more to the global emissions problem. Nearly 90% of emissions globally coming from China and other countries. So we'll talk about this interesting approach meant to solve the climate crisis, but coming at it from a very different approach. So Andrew will be joining us later on this hour, so stay tuned for that. It is coming. Oh, I spoke too soon. It was seconds ago coming down out there.
Like most
Still
of our
raining, but
like most of our big storms, it goes crazy for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it's over.
It was pretty intense out there.
Yeah,
and
some of the heaviest rain I've seen for a while.
Yeah, just a few minutes. Basically, about a half a mile of my drive here to the station. It was a little treacherous, to be honest with you, and it reminded me of something. So I saw this last week, and Bill, I know I texted you about it because you were putting news together for the evening. And I never remembered. I was going to reach out to the city and inquire if there was something behind this, but I forgot. And so I dropped that ball and never looked into it. But rainstorm last week, I left the station, headed up 2nd North here from the station, and turned on Main Street and then turned at 4th North to get to my destination. And the entire drive, every intersection was either becoming or already had become a lake. I don't know. I don't know if there was some sort of issue with drainage and culverts, or if maybe the city had something going on. That it was such an isolated area because it wasn't happening, beyond 4th North on Main Street or further south than 2nd North. It seemed to be localized to that area.
Well, and we did have a heavy storm to go through, so that no doubt was a contributor. Yeah,
not quite as bad as that, but. So it did remind me a couple of things. Well, first off, in your neighborhood where you live, keep an eye on those culverts and gutters in the street. You can, just with a few seconds and a rake or your hands, if you're not afraid to get dirty, you can pull, the blockages, branches, leaves, things like that collect in their garbage and recycling even. Pull it out of there, and you can save yourself a basement flood. But really, I think the biggest thing you're doing, if you keep an eye on that kind of thing, is improving safety on the roads. Because I saw, so during that storm last week, I didn't see it today, but I wasn't out in that area today on Main Street when this hit just a few minutes ago. But it was pooling pretty decently in the intersection here of down from the station of 10th West and 2nd North, especially in the right-hand turn lanes where... And I saw, so I saw this last week, saw it again today. I saw cars come into that, drivers not thinking that they're about to enter, 2-3 inches of water. So coming in at a high speed, at a speed that would not be considered reckless on dry roads, but a speed that was not smart for the road conditions.
There could be more of that going on in the center of town right now because Will just let us know that I guess he measured it. We had over a half an inch of rain in that 20 minutes of storm. So yeah, pretty significant.
It was coming down. It was visibility was low, and that probably impacted some of what I saw. But yeah, just a reminder: when it's raining in general, you can run into this. You can be especially at night. You can be surprised by standing water in the roads, and especially at intersections and the corners, right-hand turn lanes especially. But when it's coming down that hard, just assume it's going to happen. So what I saw today is a car right in front of me going faster than... I slowed as I got into the turn lane to make my way to the station here. The car in front of me did not. They kept going at a speed. Again, a speed that wouldn't have been considered reckless by any means on dry roads. But they hit.
Oh, when there's a lake out there. Yeah.
When it was a little white car, and a passenger vehicle, and when they hit that 2 to 3 inches of water, they went sideways, just barely missing the stopped cars at the red light.
Oh my!
And almost out into the intersection, and that was just hitting that water probably at 20 miles an hour. Not a high speed by any means, but enough.
Imagine if they were going faster.
Yeah, if they'd been going 30, I'm not sure they would have been able to stop from going into the intersection. They were able to stop, but yeah, just a reminder that it doesn't take a lot of water. In fact, according to highway safety guidelines based on data, car accidents from insurance companies and things, car accident data from insurance companies and things like that. The National Highway Safety Transportation Board has a recommendation has advisories that say that, just half an inch of water on the road is enough for you to lose complete control of your car at certain speeds, basically anything over 45 miles an hour. But 2 or 3 inches standing, outside, coming out of a gutter that isn't draining, isn't able to keep up or is clogged or something like that. You hit that even at 20 miles an hour, and that's my guess what the car in front of me was coming into that right-hand turn lane and slowing for the red light. As they hit their brakes and hit that water at the same time, complete loss of control of their vehicle. Fishtailed in the right-hand turn lane there, coming within probably a foot of the back end of their car, swiping one of the stopped cars at the red light, someone sitting there minding their own business, and then pushing them out into the intersection. They were luckily able to stop before any of those cars coming at about 50 miles an hour through that intersection could hit them. But I tensed up. I was behind them. I was a ways behind them at that point because I'd slowed quite a bit. I noticed the standing water, and it was coming into the intersection very slow. So just keep that in mind. I see it a lot, but a lot of folks tend to drive when there's that much rain coming down, or rain coming down in general. They tend to drive like they would on dry roads. Really horrible idea for you and everyone else. So pause, take a breath, slow it down just a little bit. And we'll be back right after this.
The Murdoch Summer Tour sales event is here. At Murdoch Volkswagen, we are turning up the volume on savings. For those summer days with the windows down and tunes playing loud, Murdoch Volkswagen has the perfect ride to make your summer unforgettable. Right now, receive 1.9% for 3 years on a new Tiguan or Taos. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochvw.com.
Call 866-628-3065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 7/5/2023.
If it's leaking, replace it. If it's worn, replace it. If you're constantly worrying about it with every windstorm, replace it. What are we talking about? Your roof. Palmer's Metal Mart is your place for a long-lasting, great-looking metal roof for your home, cabin, barn, or shed. Metal roofing is the put-it-up-and-forget-about-it roofing solution. For almost 30 years, people have chosen Palmer's Metal Mart for metal roofing for their selection, price, and most importantly, the professional help you get with your project. From start to finish, Metal Mart can help you with all the options for your amazing metal roof. Whether it's an accent on your roof or a complete re-roof, Palmer's Metal Mart is the place to go. Metal provides a unique and timeless look that gives the wow factor to any project. So come see the metal roofing experts at Palmer's Metal Mart, located in Lehigh and Logan. We're ready to help. Ask about quick same-day will calls or delivery to your door. Palmer's Metal Mart, everyone's metal store.
Appreciate a traffic tip from a caller just seconds ago. Bill, you took the call. Standing water at the intersection of 4th North and Main.
4th North and Main.
That's where I saw it last week.
Yeah, probably on the, I think he kind of indicated that people are turning east on there.
To head up
so
the
right
canyon.
on that east side of the road.
That's where I saw it last week as well. And when I say standing water, I'm not talking about an inch or two. I'm talking about when I made the turn there during a rainstorm last week, it was a lake, and that lake went out into the outside lane of through traffic, not just the turn lane. So yeah, be careful and remember, you hit that stuff even at a slow speed, it lifts your tires. If you're moving and you hit that water, it will actually separate your tire from the roadway just enough. You lose the friction necessary to have control of your car, and it's probably not going to be a fatality, but it's going to be the annoyance at least of a fender bender and someone else's day you're going to ruin as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It looks like the rain came as quickly as it went as quickly as it came in.
Yeah, the storm is tracking east. It's we've had weird storms. We've had a lot of storms kind of moving from the southeast to the northwest over the last week or so. But this one's just a straight on west to east storm and trucking through Logan on the east side of Logan right now, probably along the east bench, and it'll be it's starting to move into the canyon area Logan Canyon and the mountains.
Yeah, that's a lot of rain that had to drop there. So, but yeah, standing water right now at the intersection of 4th North and Main, which is where I saw it last week. I was going to reach out to the city and see if there was some sort of a problem, or if it was just where that road is such a wide road in all directions, a lot of surface area to collect the rain and funnel it into the gutters. I'm wondering if it's just more easily overwhelming those drains and gutters there at the intersection. I don't know, but that's where I saw it last week. So
another trouble area is that I saw with the last storm, 200 west, just south of 200 north. So I don't know if that's a problem.
200 west
right now.
You said?
Yeah, 200 west, just south of 200 north on south.
Huh.
On that street.
That's just keep an eye out as you come up on, especially as the sun goes down. If the rain continues, it doesn't look. We're getting sun already. Very isolated storm out there. What's the cliche? If you don't like the weather in Utah, wait 5 minutes. That's the season we're in, definitely. Monsoon season, they call it. And the timing, honestly, I don't remember. I remember some very wet Junes. I remember a June. I even remember the year. I won't say the year because I want everybody to know how ancient I am. But
1970.
Back in '06. No, it was the year I graduated high school, and some friends of mine, through their family, had access to land on the east beach of Bear Lake. And we'd made this plan that after we graduated, and knowing everyone was moving on to college in the fall, not all of us, staying here to go to USU, so we're going to lose some of the group. Everyone, kind of agreed that we were going to make the most of that access to that land, and we were going to spend every weekend we could camping on the east beach of Bear Lake. And then it rained through June. Graduation happened, and then I'm not kidding you, it rained until the last few days of June, every single day. It was a very wet June.
I remember it was either 2010 or 2011. We had cold rains in June, and they still held Summerfest. It was during that time, but
sure.
But Summerfest was kind of a washout.
Yeah,
I'm sure it affected attendance. But the good thing is, it looks like today's the last day.
Yeah.
Of major storms. Just a slight risk Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Sure, that is. It's to say the least. It's been odd, but yeah, the daily timing is what's been a standout to me in this, because of the radio show, because I'm here every day at about the same time, or making my way here roughly the same time. I've just noticed that seems to be when they hit, when the thunder and the black clouds and sometimes rain, sometimes just a sprinkle. But it seems to be 3 to 4 to 5 o'clock, and then they move out.
Well, if it's traditional thunderheads, I mean, you
very
need
Pacific Coast weather.
Yeah, you need some sunshine. You need the ground heated up a little bit, and then
that's when they
the buildup of the clouds, the cumulonimbus clouds, and that usually hits around this time.
Yeah, it's just it's fun for a while. Hopefully, it doesn't stick around forever, though. To be honest with you, we need to eventually get our summer on, but. Utah lawmakers meeting in special session today, and House and Senate leadership held a meeting with reporters ahead of the special session. The special session is underway. Here's what everyone had to say, because, of course, the big issue is this election bill, changing some rules to allow for a special election to replace Congressman Chris Stewart, who will be stepping down in September. We'll talk about what lawmakers had to say, why they've chosen the timeline they have, why a lot of folks are actually upset about this. And I'll just tell you this. If you are currently registered, if you happen to be listening in District 2, and you're currently registered as a unaffiliated or Democrat, and you plan to switch to Republican to cast a vote in the primary, you need to do that today, because lawmakers, once this bill is approved and signed by the governor, which will be later this evening or tomorrow morning, the bill is actually going to block that. And a lot of folks aren't happy about that. We'll talk about all of it and what else happened, including liquor license debates on Capitol Hill today. All of that coming up later on in the show. On the other side of the news, we'll be talking about a conservative proposal to address climate change that Western young Republican organizations are getting fully on board with. We'll talk about that after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:30. The news brought to you by Roof Rescue. An increase in road rage incidents has revealed the lack of state statute addressing aggressive driving. Lawmakers are taking a closer look at how Utah compares to other states during a committee meeting today. In Utah, there is no law that specifically addresses road rage. During the Transportation Committee meeting, lawmakers plan to talk about how Utah statute compares to other states. 15 states have aggressive driving statutes. Utah is not one of them. That statute covers behaviors most associated with road rage. Utah's current law only addresses reckless driving, which includes driving at a speed of 105 or greater and committing specific traffic violations covering 3 miles or less. A Colorado mother said a body found last Saturday in the Jordan River Surplus Canal has been identified as her son, 22-year-old Tyler Svetich. KUTV spoke to Beth Svetich Tuesday evening, said she was notified early Tuesday morning. Tyler disappeared in mid-May. He lived at the Parkway Common Apartments in Murray. His mother and neighbors said he was known to hang out by the Jordan River and liked to swim in it. Tyler's neighbors organized a vigil Tuesday night to remember him. Beth joined part of the vigil by FaceTime. It's not known what happened to Tyler. Beth does not believe he was suicidal in any way. She admits he may have been in some kind of accident, but she also worries someone may have targeted him. She and neighbors described him as a quirky misfit who liked to wear dresses. Neighbors also expressed worry that Tyler may have been the victim of foul play. And the Biden administration is urging states to slow down their efforts to remove people from Medicaid. States had been prohibited from dropping people from the government-funded health care program during the pandemic, but that came to a halt in April, and states must redetermine people's eligibility. Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra sent a letter Monday to governors raising concerns about large numbers of people losing coverage for administrative reasons like not returning information forms. He's urging states to use greater flexibility, including in delaying terminations for 1 month while trying to reach people. In Idaho, Arkansas, Florida, New Hampshire, and Oklahoma, about half or more of those whose eligibility cases were completed in April or May lost their Medicaid coverage, according to data reviewed by the Associated Press. KVNU News Time is 4:33.
This is David from Roof Rescue. This past winter in Cache Valley was the worst in recent memory, reminding us of the sheer power of Mother Nature. Snow, ice dams, and record low temperatures left behind a trail of leaks, broken gutters, and damaged roofs. Let's get those issues inspected and addressed so that when next winter comes around, you can focus your attention on your family, the holidays, and winter activities instead of leaks, drips, and ice dams. Call today for your complimentary inspection at 435-999-4268 or visit us at roofrescueusa.com. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU weather. Possibility of some more storms this evening. 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Overnight low in the upper 40s. Slight chance of showers in the morning. Partly cloudy by afternoon on Thursday. High around 70. Slight chance of storms on Friday. Otherwise partly cloudy. Lower 70s for the high. 73 has been our high, and a reported about half an inch of rain out of the storm that just moved through in the last hour. And temperature down to 59 degrees right now at KVNU. Weather brought to you by the Lawn Doctor's 2-service soil enrichment program. It'll help increase the size and number of roots in your grass. Call the Lawn Doctor, 753-LAWN. Let's get this update from ABC.
The Fed's leaving interest interest rates alone to see how its policy of increases is helping lower inflation. But it's probably a one-time thing.
One thing we don't want to do is misread a pause today to mean that the Fed is done hiking interest rates for now. Another rate hike could happen later this summer or later this year. In fact, Wall Street is now betting on at least 2 more rate hikes at some point this year.
ABC's Alexis Christoforos. The Save Our Stoves, Our Gas Stoves Act is headed to the Senate.
The ayes are 249 and the nays are 181. The bill is passed.
The House passing that bill, which would prevent the Energy Department from finalizing efficiency rules for gas stoves by a vote of 249 to 181. A soldier from Stowe, Vermont, pleaded guilty to helping ISIS members attack and attempt to murder U.S. troops overseas. Southern Baptist Convention refusing to welcome a California megachurch and a smaller Kentucky church into its fold because they have women pastors. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
For more details on these stories and others, you can always check CashValleyDaily.com for the latest local and state news. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Ted Karen with Edward Jones Investments in Smithfield, bringing you the daily financial market report for Wednesday, June 14th. Stock markets recovered from their lows of the day on Wednesday as the S&P 500 and NASDAQ closed higher, while the Dow Jones Industrial Index closed lower. This came after the Federal Reserve announced it would hold rates steady after 10 consecutive rate hikes since March of 2022. The Fed indicated, however, that it expects perhaps 2 more rate hikes ahead, as it updated its dot plot, pointing to a peak Fed funds rate of 5.6%. Chairman Powell noted in his comments that the conditions for inflation to move lower are coming into place, including early signs of a softening in the labor market. Meanwhile, bond yields climbed higher after the Fed meeting as markets priced in the potential for additional Fed rate hikes. The 2-year Treasury yield moved higher by 0.1% to 4.68%, now nearly 1% above its recent lows in mid-May. In commodity markets, oil was down $1 to $69 a barrel, and gold was up less than $1 to $1,959 an ounce. This has been today's financial market report, brought to you by Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice. If you'd like additional information, please visit with any of the 9 Edward Jones advisors in Cache Valley, in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield.
Celebrate freedom this year in beautiful Bear Lake with country music star David Nail. David Nail performing live Monday, July 3rd at Heritage Park in Garden City. Bring your blankets and lawn chairs. Activities start at 4. Free concert at 7:30. Yes, it's free. Food, fun, and fireworks and live music by country star David Nail. Monday, July 3rd. Go to bearlake.org for more information.
You're in the market to buy a home. You're dreaming of a new home that you can fill with new memories, but new homes just aren't in your budget. Or are they? Visionary Homes wants you to know you don't have to buy a used home. Buy new. Buy now at Visionary Homes. As a trusted award-winning Utah home builder, Visionary Homes understands that your home is the center of your life, bringing friends and family together, creating memories you'll cherish forever. Buy new, buy now at visionaryhomes.com.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. We talked about this a lot on the show. Recent poll, including some time with new Cache County chair of the Cache County Republican Party. We talked about polling that has shown us. We talked about even some legislative concerns along these lines. What it basically comes down to is that the Republican Party may have a growing young voter issue on certain issues, at least. Recent polling has shown that when it comes to those, say, 30 and under, some of their top priorities have not, at least historically, in current history or recent history, been top priorities of the party itself. But young conservatives are aiming to change that, to bring their priorities to the forefront of the party. One of those priorities, of course, is polling showing that those under the age of 30 have a heightened interest in tackling the climate crisis than older Republican voters do. And in that sense, something locally that's happening that's actually proving the point on that. We've talked about this on the show as well, but it's known as the Prove It Act. It was introduced last week. A very short version of what this bill does is it is a climate change bill. It is a bill meant to address the climate crisis. But what it does is, in a very unique way, works as a tool to both promote American manufacturing, but at the same time give a boost to cleaner practices in that manufacturing and put some teeth in some of the existing rules and create additional rules that would help go after global emissions in general, specifically those coming from China. A recent report showed that nearly 90% of global emissions are actually coming outside of the U.S. So we have a lot of work to do ourselves, but the rest of the world, many areas at least, are further behind than we are. So this is a really interesting approach, and it is basically a conservative climate change bill. Expect to see more of these things, by the way, as Congress becomes younger. So we have an opportunity now to actually talk about this, not only with some folks who know much more about the bill than I do, but also some folks who happen to be in this age bracket. Joining us right now, frequent guest here on the show, our good friend Ryan Smith, and also alongside Ryan, Andrew Sandstrom, who is the Regional Director of Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends. And Andrew and Ryan both appreciate taking some time for us today. Who wants to start doing their best to kind of do a better job than I did of explaining what the Prove It Act is all about?
Well, thanks, Jason, for having us on, and I'll go ahead and start, and then Ryan will probably do it better than I did. I think you did a great job explaining what the bill does, which is essentially it collects data on pollution overseas in places like China and how that pollution compares to industries in the United States. So we already know that the United States tends to do things a lot cleaner and a lot more efficient than manufacturing overseas. And essentially this bill kicks off the data collection process so that we can start holding China and other countries accountable for pollution, because we have a lot of regulations and environmental standards, or even things that companies are just doing to be good citizens to have less pollution. And China tends to come in and undercut the American worker and the American manufacturer by sort of taking environmental shortcuts and cheating that process. So this kicks off the process of holding China and other countries accountable and leveling the playing field for American companies.
This is, and to that point, Andrew, what is so unique about this is that, I mean, just to call it a conservative approach to climate change solution is obviously accurate, but it's almost an undersell, because this is actually a very creative bill as well. And one part, you'd sent me some notes on this, but one suggestion or provision of the Prove It Act, and something that I know has been suggested in multiple different ways by Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends and other similar groups, is this idea of something like a polluter import fee, and the idea behind that being not only are you penalizing the countries that are not doing more to take seriously curbing their emissions, but you're also, by penalizing them, encouraging growth in American manufacturing, which is something that one of the last few bipartisan goals the country has right now, right?
Yes, and sometimes people say bipartisan and they mean a bunch of Democrats and 2 Republicans, and that's definitely not the case. You're right to say this is a conservative-led effort, and conservative with a capital C. This isn't a conservative. This isn't a. This is, like you said, a really creative idea, right? This isn't just business as usual. This is moving things along.
Sure.
But yes, this is. This gets us closer to where we could have a polluter import fee and grow manufacturing in the United States.
This is for listeners. If you'd like to read more as well, these guys, Andrew and Ryan, nice enough to send along a Washington Examiner op-ed recently written by Grayson Massey, the Western Region Director for Young Republicans. And it does a great job of spelling out the Prove It Act, but also talking about why this is, why you would put the label of a conservative solution on this. And Andrew, Ryan, for both of you, I know as conservative gentlemen yourself, that's important, right? You're wanting to do something about climate change, to change the direction things are headed when it comes to climate change, but you believe it can be done in a way that doesn't require much of what's suggested by, well, let's be honest, the people we usually hear from on addressing climate change, progressives, right?
Yeah. I think you saw like 5 or 6 years ago, young conservatives, college-aged conservatives and Republicans come out and say, it's time for us to push towards some type of action. And it's something that we care about. Andrew cares about, I care about the environment. Andrew cares about environment. And the fact is, I think, Republicans, we care about the world. We want to reduce emissions. We're the ones. A lot of us go out and hunt. A lot of us go out and fish. By heart, we're conservationists, and so it was time to have new ideas brought forth and not just allow. A lot of times, like you said, Jason, it's the left who's kind of the main group talking about the climate solutions. And there's a way and a different approach to say, I do care about the environment, but we're going to do it in a different way. We don't want those, what we would deem maybe more extreme ideas of, Green New Deal or things like that. But we do care about reducing pollutions. And I think that this act is a great step towards that. And it's really exciting for us young conservatives to be a part of this conversation, to feel like a few years ago we're talking about this. We're saying, hey, it's time for us to do some things, and then to see it starting to come to that fruition. That's an exciting thing for us as young conservatives to be able to feel like we're being a part of this conversation, we're being heard, and that our congressmen and senators are listening to the concerns of especially younger conservatives, and so that's been really neat.
This is and Ryan, of course, you're coming from a unique perspective For listeners, again, our guests here, Andrew Sandstrom, Regional Director of Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, and Ryan Smith, President of the USU College Republicans. And Ryan, you're there as a college student yourself, as someone. Yep. You're talking with people in the very age group that we're kind of referencing here, the next generation of voters within the Republican Party, the base of the Republican Party in just a few years. What are you hearing when it comes to issues like climate change? When I talk to my conservative friends, they're frustrated that the left has owned this one so far, right? Is that a fair way to say it?
I think that's a fair way to say how it has been, but that's changing. And actually, Jason, I'm no longer the president for USU. I'm now the chair for the state of Utah, and I think that, like you said, that puts me in a really unique position, especially now talking with people from UVU and BYU and U of U and having these connections with conservatives around the state. And the messaging is clear. I still think, young people, we are conservative. I'm a conservative Republican, but we're saying we need to be a part of the conversation because it's hard. Sometimes we want to be the party. Sometimes we say no to things, and we have to come up with our own solutions. And then to the issues that are going on, that this issue of our environment, and instead of allowing the left to kind of run away, so to speak, with all the messaging and basically say that conservatives and Republicans don't care about the environment, well, that's just not true. We just don't want your policies. We just want things done differently. It doesn't mean different doesn't always mean that we don't care. And so I think you're right that that's the feeling that we've had, but I really feel like, and I think Andrew can attest to that, I mean, just the short last 4 or 5 years, we're starting to see the messaging change. And it's interesting as, I talk with conservatives or even people who are on the left, and they're always kind of a little bit surprised that we've got so many conservatives that are, especially I'll say people on the left, they're a little bit surprised sometimes about that. Oh, you do care, because I think they have this messaging and thought process that conservatives don't care, which I just don't think is true. We just want something done differently.
Sure. And that's, and Andrew and Ryan, for you both, my perspective on this, I feel like some of the best times in American problem solving from a legislative point of view have come when you had the two parties and all the ideological factions that exist within each of the parties, and everybody's literally, you can see it as butting heads or fighting, but you can also see it as a war of ideas and refining each other and challenging each other, and that's what I love about this and about Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends in general. Is it's a challenge to, the left is, this has been their issue. Every time we hear about climate change and climate change solutions, we're hearing about, proposals that are coming from the center left, the far left. And so this is a direct challenge to that, saying, okay, we want to solve this too. Here's a different idea. And through that, I think we're going to end up with far better solutions in the end. So that gets me excited about this. And listeners, I hope you're excited about it as well. We have a bit more time with our guests. We've got a quick break here, but stick around. Andrew Sandstrom, Regional Director of Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, here with us. And Ryan Smith, former president of USU College Republicans. And Ryan, I apologize, I forgot you told me about the promotion. Now chair of the College Republican organization here throughout the state of Utah. And Ryan and Andrew will be with us for a bit more. If you have a question or a comment about all of this, 753-5868. If you want to see more of the Prove It Act itself, I've linked to both the Washington Examiner op-ed from Grayson Massey and some information about the act itself in Legalese. If you want to read that on our Facebook page, we'll be right back.
KBNU with this quick traffic update. Want to let you know about an accident at 400 North, 100 East in Logan. Police and paramedics on the scene there. Minor injuries have been reported. Traffic has been slowed around that intersection, and reports of some standing water in some of the intersections in Logan and parts of the Cache Valley. So please drive carefully.
Cache Valley Cruising, Cache Valley Cruising.
Are you ready for Cache Valley's biggest party? Rev your engines and join the fun at Cache Valley Cruising, June 29th through July 1st. This year, they're giving away a gorgeous 1973 Camaro Z28, silver with black stripes. And your ticket is your entry to win the car. But that's not all. The Top Rod of Utah returns, where you can feast your eyes on cars worth big money. And let's not forget the excitement of the poker run, the sock hop, and the swap meet, where you can find unique products and fun gift ideas. Then, get ready to catch the wave of nostalgia with the legendary Beach Boys as they perform all your favorite hits. Tickets are selling fast, so go to Lee's Marketplace or the Cache Valley Cruise-In website to buy tickets now. June 29th through July 1st at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have questions. How do you make your savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help you build a strategy to help your finances keep up with your long-term needs. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Call one of the 7 Edward Jones branch locations in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Jumping right back in here to maximize our time with our two guests here. Andrew Sandstrom, Regional Director of Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends. You can connect with them, by the way, I hadn't mentioned this yet, via their website, which is yccdaction.org. Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, yccdaction.org. They have a great newsletter, if you're interested in this type of thing, very informative. I would recommend it. Also joining us now, former president of USU College Republicans, now chair of College Republicans for the state of Utah, Ryan Smith. And Ryan, Andrew, thank you for your time both. And I know there's never enough time in these interviews to get to everything I'd like to as far as the particulars and specifics. But for people out there who want to know more, who want to get involved with groups like Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, or just learning more about a conservative climate change solution and proposals that exist out there, where would you point people, young and old?
So I think I appreciate you having us on, first of all. Second of all, the yccdaction.org site that you mentioned is a great resource. I would also recommend, there's a website that is carbonadvantage.us. That's carbonadvantage.us, and that's just a great place to go if you want to see why foreign polluter fee or why the Prove It Act would be a good idea. It shows you just how much cleaner industries in the U.S. are. I would highly recommend that website. Again, that's carbonadvantage.us.
Carbonadvantage.us. All right, I'm linking to all these on our Facebook page if you're driving right now and don't have a chance to write these down. And again, the Prove It Act is introduced. Will be up for debate, so you're going to be hearing more about this eventually. Congress moves slowly, of course, but just a really unique idea, collecting data to better understand global emissions, looking at incentives that would both beef up manufacturing and improve the cleanliness of manufacturing here in the U.S., while at the same time subtly penalizing overseas manufacturers importing into the U.S. that are heavy polluters. This is a real, very serious proposal, and it's coming from conservatives, and it's honestly, we need more of this kind of thing. Andrew and Ryan, if you can, in the few minutes we have left here, Andrew, maybe start with you. What got you excited about this, about getting involved and getting conservative proposals more in the spotlight?
So I've been a Republican since I was 8 years old, and we had a mock election, and I voted for Bush over Gore in the 2000 election. So obviously, I've cared about conservatism for a very long time, and I was a Boy Scout, right? I annoy my family members by being the guy who picks up litter when we're walking around Disneyland, right? I have always wanted there to be a leadership on this issue, but what for conservative youth, what we see coming from Democrats is just stuff we can't swallow, because it purports to be good for the environment, but it ends up also jeopardizing a lot of our liberties, jeopardizing our economy. And so having not just saying no to bad ideas, but saying yes to good ideas is something that I've always been about when it comes to environment and it comes to Republican policy. And so Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends has just been a great movement to be a part of for that reason, because we're trying to give those answers to young people. And I've noticed, Jason, that when I show up on college campuses, the response isn't, what's your policy? What's it about? I mean, it's that, but it's also, hey, we've been waiting for you. We want to talk about climate. We want to do events about climate. And so I'm really excited to see we've got the Prove It Act, and I'm excited to see what else is going to happen in the future. And I think it's going to make a big difference for the party with this generation.
Very cool stuff. And Andrew, your words remind me, I think of my father, actually. My dad is a lifelong conservative, and he is older. He's at an advanced age, and he is one of the most avid, aggressive recyclers I have ever met, because he hates waste. And that surprises a lot of people, I think, when they learn that about him. But it speaks to this, that these are things that conservative Republicans care about, and it's easy to mistake that for otherwise because of the narrative we see. And Ryan, I know you and I have talked about this before too. What led you to, beefing up young Republican presence on college campuses? You know from your own experience, there is a hunger out there, as Andrew mentioned. For you guys, what comes next?
I mean, for me, what I'd love to see, and I just want to mention this first, but I really do see this interest on college campuses, kind of that hunger, like you said, with. And that's what I think we'll continue to see next is more conservatives being interested, other policies that have to do with the environment that are, this is a great policy. Hopefully we have this act get passed, and then we have some other things related, and we're able to, penalize countries like China that are taking advantage of really American industry. As a business, as someone who loves business, wants to go into business, you have to deal with a lot of regulatory things to try to reduce pollution. And then China doesn't even have to deal with that.
Sure.
Those same issues, and they're able to undercut American prices.
Undersell us, while at the same time dumping more into the air. Man. Both of you, this has been so fascinating. Let's check in with you again soon. Please promise to come back. And for our listeners, again, Regional Director of Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, Andrew Sandstrom, and Chair of